we're going to go right into Mr. Jebre Clemmons, and I want him to share something about that video he sent Vivid that we showed the other day. And I want you guys to hear what he has to say about that video that he sent in to Mr. Miles. Mr. Clemmons, are you there?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me okay?
Absolutely.
All right. So before I go into it, did everyone get a chance to actually watch the training, whether it was live or the recording? I see about 2 or 3 people saying yes.
You might want to tell what recording that was again, sir.
Talk with Mr. Anthony Miles on Tuesday. So what I did, I sent him a video from one of my properties that I own, where the tenant had went outside during the ice and snow that we had here in Tennessee. And I guess for some odd reason, him and the black ice just did not work together. So he just took a nice slide, and, you know, fortunately, it was captured on Vivint. The beautiful thing about that is, and this is twofold, not only, you know, do we all get to share that laugh, but, you know, I get paid every single month on the Vivint. In addition to that, for anyone else that does invest in properties or whatnot, I also get a monthly residual on that as well. So it's pretty awesome, which, you know, I shared this a while back on one of my trainings about Vivint. All of my rental properties that I own have Vivint, and it's in my contract. Whether you're doing the home security, TV, internet, all of those services are required to stay in any of my properties. If you're not willing to do that, you know what? You can find another property. But I never have a problem with people wanting to stay in my properties. So that's a lifelong residual income, multiple ways off each of those houses. And I love it. But yeah, so what you can do, make sure if you do own properties, the services that we offer, they need to be in your name. You need to have them. I mean, it's non-negotiable. If you're on this call and your cell phone isn't through yourself, you're not really in ACN. If you're paying a TV bill that's not through you and the service is available at your house, you're not really in ACN. If you have internet at home and everyone on this call is utilizing internet and you're not paying yourself through the service and it's offered at your house, regardless of the speed, guess what? You're still not in ACN yet. And it's probably the reason why your business isn't where it should be. And I tell you from personal experience, for years, I had AT&T internet through myself, through ACN, and it was the slowest internet possible. Like I couldn't do hardly anything, but I kept it. You know why? Because I was committed. I made it work. If I needed to use my phone hotspot, and Miss Natasha will tell you, because I complained to her about it, how my cell phone internet was faster than my home internet. So that's crazy, but I kept it because I got paid on it. Thankfully, we picked up Spectrum. So now I have 2 internet providers in my house that I get paid on. Both of my cell phones, free, and I get paid on. My internet, like I just mentioned, both of those, home security, ID seal. I think I still get paid on my video phone that's in the attic that I never use. That's crazy. And I have a home phone that is unplugged, but I still get paid on it. So just saying that, take advantage of the services we offer, whether it's in your personal house or for anyone fortunate to have multiple homes, do those as well. I've done it. Mr. Thomas done it. Mr. Julian, I know he does it as well. And I'm not sure who else do it, but I mean, if you have the service King available, Mr. Chris King, you got rental property?
He does it.
Awesome. But yeah, take advantage of it. That's all I wanted to share with you. And what I did, like I said, I shared that video with him so that he could use it whenever he's doing his presentations. And he'll probably be using Mr. Aaron Burt's. So if you didn't see his file, make sure you go on his Facebook page, because his was a lot worse. He took a fall, got up, and started sliding. So it's hilarious. But Mr. Thomas, I'll turn it back over to you where we can get down to the goods of this call, and thank everyone for joining as always.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
You know what? Matter of fact, I got 8 video phones I'm still paying on. And watch this. Some of y'all say 8. Yeah, I got 8 of them. But let me ask you a question. Think about it. Why do I still paying on them? Wait, Mr. Thomas, no wonder you're senior. No, it's a write-off. As much as I get, can I afford to write a few of them off? It's a write-off. So you guys got to get, look, I'm trying to get you in 2021 to go in a business mode. But you're not using them. It's a write-off for my company.
Mr. Thomas.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna share one more thing. I
Please do.
Came back for the rental properties, and this is something Julian and I were talking about. In some areas, you may not can require tenants to get a particular service. Fortunately, Tennessee, you can. But what I did too, because we do know that Vivint, you do have to pass a credit check, right? So with all of my properties, I paid up front for all the equipment, put it in my name, so it's paid off, and I just raised the rent. So the tenant is still paying for it, and I still have a lifelong customer without having to deal with whether the tenant leaves early and they take the service. Wherever that house is, which is stationary, that service is going to be. But I just wanted to add that to it too, just in case anyone was inquiring about that.
Now notice who he talked to, Julian Lewis, another business owner. See, are we business owner, or are we just trying to make a few dollars and not, look, it's part of the business. It's part of the business. I was at a restaurant the other day and the guy said, man, I lost $800 worth of produce that went bad on me. Did he close his business down? He just wrote it off. Don't you get it? I'm trying to get you guys elevated in your thinking. Am I making sense to you? If I am, shake your head so I know you understand. It's a business. You run it like a business. There you go. Unlike their business, they got to close down. Ours is always open. Anyway, you know what? Let's do this. Let's have a contest. Anybody? Let's say the month of March, the whole month of March, the one that sends in the best, funniest video from a video from a Vivid phone. I mean Vivid. Well, I'm gonna have a look. I'm gonna have a prize for you for the best one sent in for the month of March. And we could start it right now. We'll end it in the March. The best video, because we all saw the one that Mr. Jebre Clemmons gave to Mr. Miles. But let's have a contest. The one with the best video, we're gonna have a contest. I'm gonna give him something, him or her something. As a matter of fact, when you saw that video, the first thing I thought of, man, I need to get one made. Did you guys think like that? Hey, I need to do something like that. That's the entrepreneurship we want you guys to come out of, okay? So with that said, thank you so much. Well, let's get down to it. I told this young man to check his mailbox out. So he's always, every week when I'm doing these on Wednesdays, last week he had, this past Wednesday, I think it was 15, 2 weeks before that, he had 14 or 15. He's always got a ton of people to call. And I said, Mr. Sam Foster. And he said, Mr. Thomas, if what I do is so simple. He said, once I start doing it, I just kept doing it and doing it. And that's it's so easy. It's always easy, folks, if you do it and continue doing it, not just think about it. And once you do it, you get better with it. So I figured tonight we're going to highlight the great Sam Foster and what he's doing. Matter of fact, remember I said you got to get uncomfortable. You guys know I got out of my big place and I moved to a little smaller, half-size house. So I'm uncomfortable, so I can get comfortable again once I go break some barriers. See, some of you may not do that. I get that, but I'm leading by example. When was the last time you got uncomfortable that you were mad and made you go do something? So with that said, I'm going to bring on the great Mr. Matter of fact, Sam Foster. I'm not even sleeping in my bed. I'm sleeping on the floor because I want to get real uncomfortable. Wow, how many would have did that? Anyway, so without further ado, the man, the myth, the legend himself, the one who's been carrying the ball for the last 5 times or 6 times I've been doing these calls, and blowing everybody away. And, you know, he's not doing anything we can't all do. I know Miss Pat Robinson's got quite a few. She's been on there. Mr. Al Randolph got a few people signed up. Mr. Belinda Batiste got some folks signed up. A lot of people got people signed up. We signed up 21 in the 5 weeks. And we got 3, I think 2 yesterday, Wednesday. But anyway, further ado, I'd like to get the great Sam Foster to tell what he's doing to build his business, get all these names and numbers. So can we give Sam Foster a hand for Al's Happy Hour? Sam Foster.
All right. Right. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. What did you get in the mail?
All right. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
Tell everybody what it is.
This is the iPhone watch. I was so happy. I've been looking at it for the last 2 or 3 hours. I haven't even cracked the seal on it. I'm so happy. I'm so used to Mr. Thomas doing this in my face, so I'm gonna do it once again back to you.
So when did it come in? When you get it? Tell everybody when you get it. What happened when you got it?
I got it today.
And what'd you say when you got it? Because you weren't expecting anything.
No, I wasn't expecting it at all. I'm smiling like new money.
So tell everybody how you feel when you got it.
Well, I was totally surprised. It came, of course, in a bag, so I didn't know what the bag was, and then the bag didn't feel like much. So when I got at the house and tore open the bag, and I saw that it was the famous watch that everybody's been trying to get at, so I was pretty much blown away. Still pretty much blown away. I'm so blown away, I don't even want to take the wrap off. So I want to kind of look at it and bask in it for maybe like 24 hours.
Well, my friend, you deserve it, because Sam Foster had no idea that was coming to him. He had no idea. All I told him yesterday and today was check your mailbox, check your mail out. He had no idea that was coming. It hit him totally by surprise.
Right. Yes, sir.
And the reason why, because with contest on Wednesday, he hit it. Not only that, but he's been #1 in all these things I've been doing. So I want him to share a little bit with you guys tonight on Al's Happy Hour. What is he doing to get all these names? And what is he doing to sign people up? What is he doing? What is he doing? What is he doing? So Mr. Sam Foster, why don't you share with us what your daily mode of operation is to get names and numbers when you tell us what you're doing.
Okay. Thank you, first of all, Mr. Thomas, for having me on the call. I consider it an honor, a pleasure to always be on the calls, and definitely to highlight tonight. I don't take it for granted. I don't take you for granted. And every time that we talk, I try to make it be brief because I know your time is valuable. So I really appreciate that, you and Mr. Clemmons and all the other RDs and SVPs and everybody that take the time out to do it. So I say thank you. First of all, if you guys are taking notes, I kind of was thinking about this for the last couple of days. And if you're taking notes, I guess I'll title this personally, the pain of remaining the same. I know a few times I've made a statement, and that this has been one of my mantras that I live by. I say that people don't change until the pain of remaining the same becomes too great. And I say that because that was my whole thing probably a couple of months ago with the whole aspect of getting uncomfortable. I felt like I was, not only was I comfortable, but I was in a position where I wasn't moving anywhere. And I felt like that, like Mr. Thomas used to have this hamster on the wheel when he did his presentations back in the day. I felt like that hamster on the wheel. I was moving, but I wasn't going anywhere. And that goes for the jobs that we go on. That goes for the day-to-day operations that we do. A lot of times we can be moving, but we're not going anywhere. And I personally felt like I wasn't going anywhere. I personally felt like I was doing just a lot of stuff, but I wasn't pointed in the right direction to make an effective hit towards anything, you know. And it made me feel bad. It made me feel sad. I went through a whole lot of different emotions. And Mr. Thomas was talking one day, and I think he was saying this during one of the power hours, and he was talking about his daily method of operation. And he started talking about he gets up at 4 in the morning, he prays, he exercises, he goes walking. And then I thought about it. I said, wait a minute. I said, he's a senior vice president. A senior vice president, Circle of Champions member for 10 straight years in a row, and he gets up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I said, this doesn't make any sense. So as I started getting up early it started hitting me. Then it started bothering me. Then it started bothering me real bad. Because I said to myself, what's your excuse? He's getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning. He's doing more things before he gets on our calls at 9 o'clock you guys' time, 11 o'clock my time. He's doing more in the 3 or 4 hours before he gets on the calls than most of us are doing all day. And then I was just in shock. And then I thought about it. I said, wait a minute. I said, I want to be an SVP. In order for me to be an SVP, I have to do what SVPs do. And if I want to be on the top of the charts, if I want to be Circle of Champions, okay, then we have no better leader than Mr. Thomas. Then I started thinking about everybody that he's put on these calls the past 6 months. And everybody that he's put on the calls has knocked it out of the park. And he hasn't given us any shabby individuals. I mean, he's really given us other SVPs. He's given us other RVPs. He's given us everybody that we've seen pretty much walking on the stages. If you've been in for a couple of years, he's actually brought those people home to us on this Zoom call. And he's done it multiple times. So as I started getting up every morning, it started bothering me and it started making me feel uncomfortable. And every morning I would get up, I started getting up at 8 o'clock. Then I started getting up at 7 o'clock. Then I started getting up at 6 o'clock. And once I started getting up at 6 o'clock, then I started praying. Then I thought about it. I said, now, instead of my knees being on the floor, I need my body on the floor. And then I started laying on the floor a couple of nights. Then I started getting up by myself at 6 o'clock. And that really made me feel uncomfortable. Then I started feeling cold and things of that nature, but I started thinking better. Every morning I get up, I started thinking better. And I started saying to myself, most people are still asleep. And then Mr. Thomas did that information when he gave us about he get 13 months out of a year. That was around the same time. So I started saying, wait a minute. Now this starting to make a lot more sense. Now I see the early bird really gets the worm. And then I started thinking to myself, I said, wait a minute. I said, it's the reason why people get up early. It's the reason why they set their timers to get up early. Then most of the time, if you start getting up early, you don't even need a time clock. You're going to wake up by accident. You're going to get up. Then when you get up, my method of operation started being, okay, get up in the morning. I started getting up about 6 o'clock. So I taper back about 2 hours. I read a book of Psalms. Then I read a book of Proverbs. Then I sit back and I started thinking to myself. Then what I started doing is I started looking at my day. What am I going to do towards the day? Then I started saying to myself, okay, I want to get up. Where's my target audience? Then I started saying, no better place than the mall. Why is that? Bunch of people at the mall, a bunch of age groups. The older people get there early because they walk around a lot like I do. Then the younger people start getting there around lunchtime. Most of them is doing homeschool, but they're never in front of the computers. They check in and then they go to the mall anyway. And then you got all these people that's working from home. They come in the malls around lunchtime. So I started meeting them around lunchtime. That's the same time that we get finished here, Central Time, with the morning meetings. So I started meeting myself at the mall every single day. I'll be at the malls. Now, when I go to the malls, I put my earplugs in my ear, I attach it to my cell phone, and I walk around as if I'm on the phone. But I'm not really on the phone unless somebody calls me. That way, it allows me to start playing over in my mind different people that I may see in the mall. How do I approach them? Like, say, for instance, I may approach, I don't know, a guy who I look like I want to prospect. He might have on a shirt and tie. So if he has on a shirt and tie, then I know to go at him pretty much business minded. Hey man, where'd you get the shirt from? Where'd you get the tie from? Man, what do you do? So now I'm peaking. Now I'm breaking that ice, that cold market. I'm chiseling on that ice then, because now if he has a shirt and a tie on, my first thing is, hey man, I pull one earplug out of my ear to make it look like I got his attention and he's got mine. And I said, hey, how you doing, man? Say his name. Then I'll say to him, I say, hey man, nice tie. What do you do? Well, You can't deny responding to a person when he compliments you or if she compliments you, you're gonna say something. So usually they'll say, well, I'm in insurance, or I do this, or I work over here. So once they tell me what they do, I cater directly towards that. How long you been doing it? Then they want to talk. Then I say, I may say, you look for other ways to make money. You look for other ways to increase your finances, your bottom line. Most of the time they're gonna say, yeah. They say, what you got? I say, oh, I do a little something. Why? Because less is more. I learned that less is more. I say I do a little something. I said, let me get your number. That way we'll talk. We'll chop it up later on. So that way, if they're super busy and they moving, they're gonna already give me the number. Once I get the number, I call them back in front of them. That's an old school tactic for anybody that don't understand that. I call them right then. I say that 214-244 number coming at you, that's me. So that way, if I already do it in front of them, I know I got their number. I got their name and number right then. No jokes, no games. So I already lock them in right then. I say, hey, let me go ahead and lock your name and number in, man, because once I get back on doing these steps, man, sometimes I forget, and then I got a number in here and I don't even know who it is. So that way I lock it in right then. Then that allows them to lock my name and number in. So now we're locked in together. At that point, we good. So then I'll tell them, I'll say, let's say for instance, I don't know, it's a Monday. I'll say, hey man, I said, you know what? You remind me of my mentor, multi-millionaire. Look, man, 18 millionaires, 20 years, man, document. I said, man, you got that same spirit on you he has, man, real professional guy. So, man, y'all should meet. So right then and now, I'm already planning his mind. He know a multi-millionaire, 18 millionaires, 20 years. Now they wondering if I'm lying or not. So then I say, hey, man, his name is Mr. Al Thomas. I said, look, man, I got a slot, man, on Wednesday nights. It's real tight, but I'm gonna fit you in. I'm gonna fit you in. Because it's just something about you. I said, if I can fit you in, if I can get you in, man, will you be interested? Oh, yeah. I said, so this is what I'm gonna do. He gonna be calling you probably from a Vegas number, 702, 704 number. Hey, man, clear your schedule. Wednesday night between 8 and 9. Don't do nothing. Clear your schedule. He's gonna give you a call, man. You up for that? Yeah. Okay, man, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give him your information. Since I just got your information, I'm gonna send him your information right now. Then what I do is I'll hit that person back. I'll text him back and I'll say, hey, man, you're good. Wednesday night between 8 and 9, you're clear. You got the green light. They hit me back and say, good, I'm already set for that person. So what I do is throughout that day, I'll identify certain people that I feel like is ready to talk to Mr. Thomas. So by the time I get back in my car, I've already had in my mind that day who my superstars are to possibly talk to Mr. Thomas. So now I can analyze who I got in my phone. So by the time I get back home, let's say it's a Monday, on the power hour, I've already designated 4 or 5 people just that day that I know is potential superstars. Why? Because as I'm talking to people going through the mall, they tell me what they do. They tell me if they're construction, they tell me if they're, a loan officer, they tell me everything. So at that point, when I get back to my car, I'm already writing little notations down for what they've already told me. So in my mind, I already got an idea. Okay, this person gonna be good. This person I may have to work on. So I kind of divulge a little plan of my superstars, my first 5. Now I might have done 15 people that day, but I got a hot 5 on the stove. So that hot 5 on the stove, I'm gonna slam over to Mr. Thomas just to see if they cooking with something. So that's what I do every single day. I get me a hot 5 out of 15, 20 people. Now I'm not saying you guys got to do 15 or 20, but remember what I said. The pain to remain the same has become too great for me. So I'm gonna do 15, 20 a day. We doing 15, 20 over here. We're gonna do 15, 20. So what I do now is, like last week, we had that snowstorm. So because I've already done 15, 20 a day, last week alone, I was able to feast off those 15, 20 per day. And what I did was I followed the instructions of Mr. Thomas and the other leaders. I started texting them back, even though they didn't have a whole lot of power, they didn't have a whole lot of water. I'm texting them back, Hey man, just checking on you, man. Sam from the mall. Hey man, I know it's tight around here, man. Are you okay? You and your family good? They started texting me back like, yeah, man, appreciate you calling. Oh, absolutely. Blah, 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 blah. So I'm texting them doing this. I'm in the dark, they in the dark, but I'm texting. So that way, even the people that was having technical difficulties, they can see, well, man, this guy really do care. It ain't about money. He's calling me. He's paying attention, this, that, and the other. So worst case scenario, I can always call them back and they see that thread of a text and they say, oh, that's that guy. Oh, he called me, man, when time was tough. So that way you got an opportunity to have some referrals going along. So you got to remind yourself of that. I always try to peek towards what's going on in the future. Might not be right now for them, but now I'm tap rooting. Now I'm tap rooting. So I started doing that. Then when I get down to my breaks, I never really take a break. So what I do is I'll sit down at the mall in the middle where the little couches and stuff is. I sit down right there and I make it look like I'm talking to somebody, but I'm really not ever really talking to anybody. I just got the plugs in my ear, but I'm sitting down and I'm moving my hands like I'm talking, and people are walking around me like, wow, he must be really engaged in something. But I maybe not. I might be scoping those individuals out. So then I might throw my hand up and speak to them with my hand. So as soon as they speak back to me, I take my earplug out my ear again to make it look like I'm saying, hold on to the person I'm on the phone with. No, I've already engaged with them because they spoke back. And I say, hey sis, how you doing? Hey, listen, that hairstyle, oh, it's spot on. You do something. You in the fashion world or something, they may say, oh no, I'm a beautician. A beautician. You do hair? Oh, I figured you did something. Oh, thank you. Say, you keep your options open? What? Yeah, really. I tell you what, sis, I know you're busy right now. I'm gonna get your number. I'm gonna send you my information. I own a little something. I do a little something. On what you do. Listen, I'm gonna send you all that information. I just want to get your information down because I know you're busy. Wink, wink, lunchtime. I know you're busy. Now I get their information. Now, once I get their information, they already waiting on me to call them because now the expectations there, they don't know what it is, but they know I do a little something. But then now they also realize, wait a minute, this guy don't look like he retired. He don't look like he's selling insurance. What is he doing in this mall looking like he walking around like he has nothing to do? So at that point, they're guessing. I want to keep that guess in mind. So as they're guessing of what I do, now I know how to approach them. So I write a little notation down. I write the notation. I'll say beautician. I'll say enthusiastic. Some on the side to keep me knowing when I talk to them how to approach them. So as I sit down and I approach them like that, so as I sit down and I'm approaching them like that, I'm putting myself in a better position to address them later on. So once I address them later on, I already know how to approach them because I've already rehearsed it in my mind. That's my method of operation as I'm approaching somebody. Now, when I take a break, let's say I take a break at the food court. That's the biggest part of the mall, the food court. Everybody's sitting down. Well, before I even go to the food court, I've already walked around enough times where I'm analyzing everybody in the place. So the people that's at the counters, wherever the people that serve the food, well, I know all of those individuals. I know when they take a break. I know their behaviors because I'm there all the time. I'm constantly studying. I'm constantly studying. So at that point, now the owners of these places, they want to know who I am because they see me in there so much in these different malls. They want to know who is this person. Don't look like he got nothing to do, and he's always in here exercising. So at that point, now you're getting a lead on top of a lead on top of a lead on top of a lead because when you dialogue with them and you let them know, well, I own a little something. As soon as you say a little something, the most business owners want to know what that is. So at that point, then you got them engaged. So I say once again, let me get your number. I'll talk with you a little later. I know you're busy. I know you got a lot of things going on. I got the number. As long as I get the name and I get the number, we good. Why? Because I can always call them back. And then they know they're going to start seeing me over time. So that's going to build credibility. So as I walk by their place of business, I can throw my hand up. They got a question for me. I got an answer for them. See, I got all this going on at the same time. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, everybody that owns a business also owns a residence. Let me repeat that. Everybody that owns a business also owns a residence. What do? We do business and residential services. So when you get the business owner, you can get the residence too. It's at that point, it's just report building at that point. So we popping with grease right about now. So now as I walk around, not only do I have everybody, all the business owners on lock, but now I have free reign, ladies and gentlemen, to go into their business when I want to and strike up conversation with anybody in the business. Why? Because I build rapport with them. I got rapport built already with the owner. Not with the individual people that work there, but with the owner. Now that's credibility and clout right there. Now at that point, I'm stepping in, I'm stepping out. I can move around a little bit. Now everybody know me. Now when it comes to different people, now I just need to know who do they know I need to know. Then I just start connecting the dots. So when I do that, that makes it better for me as I go inside these malls. Now what I do when I go inside the malls, I pick out different parts of the different places in the mall that I can go. Now, let me give you guys a little caveat now, because I know we were talking about going into the mall itself. Now, let me give you guys a misnomer. I think Julian Lewis said this a couple of weeks ago. Sometimes, you know, when you throw your spaghetti up against a wall, you want to make sure it sticks. Now, some of my spaghetti wasn't sticking at first. And I started wondering, why is it not sticking for me? Then I started realizing a little bird gave me a little chirp on the ear and said, you got to recruit up. So then it started hitting me, said, wait a minute, that's a good point. So as I started going to these different department stores, I said, let me start going inside of places like Macy's, some of these high-end stores. Why? Because as I started going to those stores, ladies and gentlemen, I started realizing they got different departments in those stores. But you got to remember, let's say you're going to the part where they sell the polo shirts. Well, that's more high-end. So now you finna eliminate your hip-hop boys and all that. Now you finna start getting into your upscale individual. Now let me give you an example. I went in today into the polo shop of dealers. Walked in, saw a guy looking at a couple of shirts, a couple of plants. I walked over there, act like I was looking at a couple of things. Wink, wink, wasn't looking at that. I was looking at him. And as I was looking at him, the lady that was in there said my name. She said, hey, how you doing? Blah, blah, because they know me now. So the guy looked at her like, how she know him? You know, he must come in here and buy the place out. Well, I played towards her. How you doing, sis? Blah, blah, blah. All of a sudden, we started talking about the price of the clothes and everything. So I just cracked him open. Cold market. I cracked the ice on it. I said, say, man, what do you do? He tell me, oh, I just started my own business. What's that? So he told me what it was. So right then and there, no more talk. Hey, I'm gonna get your name and number. I'll do a little something, man. We'll be able to do something together, I'm sure. Oh, yeah, really? Yeah, okay, what do you do? Hey, man, let me get your number. And I'll give you a call later on this weekend so we can chop it up. Right then and there, name and number, on the spot. On the spot. No questions asked. So when I got his name and number, I go around the other side of the same department store, do the exact same thing. Because now you're in the atmosphere of a higher tier of people. Now you're just not walking around a bunch of these B-boys that got a bunch of sneakers and stuff in their hand. Now you're walking around a bunch of quote unquote executive individuals. Man, to be honest with you, they got $200 in their pocket. A polo shirt costs $98. The shirt by itself, not the shirt and the pants, just the shirt is $98. So they got $224 in their pocket. So now I realize I got to think outside the box. Now I got to go into the department, the high-end department stores, same people, same conversation, build a rapport on the spot. So then what I end up doing today, I got about 4 names and numbers of chess business owners, just in the high-end department stores. You got to be willing to come outside the box just a little bit. But the secret is, ladies and gentlemen, Get in the atmosphere. Your method of operation should be to get in the atmosphere. Over time, you're going to find out what your pattern is, but if you never get outside your house, AKA your comfort zone, you'll never be able to find out what your true daily method of operation will be. You got to come outside the comfort zone. You got to get to a point of what I said, ladies and gentlemen. I can't afford to keep coming on these calls every single day, allowing Mr. Thomas, the RDs, the SVPs, the RVPs to give me a shot of Novocaine like I'm getting high for an hour a day. I can't keep getting high for an hour a day and not get out here and do something. I got to do something. What did Steve Harvey say last week on the call? You got to jump. That means you got to come outside your comfort zone. And I know people say every day, oh, this thing going on, this thing. Yeah, I get all that, but you go to Walmart and get your groceries. That don't stop you. So if you're going to Walmart to get your groceries, you can't peek at Walmart. You got to get out the car at some point. You can't peek at the gas station. Anywhere you go got to be a peek. Because you can always use those names and numbers at another time. Because if something happened where we really get shut down again, you got your arsenal put together already. You got your names and numbers. All you got to do is pick the phone up. Now, what's even sad about the situation, ladies and gentlemen, let me say this for good measure. What about Amazon? They ain't peeking nobody, and they got plenty of customers. Tell me when I'm lying. Plenty of customers. They haven't peaked the soul. And if we say we're the Amazon of essential services, we ought to at least be getting some of that revenue. And we do essential services. I tell people all the time, you got what I got. The only difference is you're not making money or saving money. What you want to do? You put them on the spot sometimes. What you want to do? You're doing the services anyway. The video tell them that. So that's how I do my daily method of operation. So that way, ladies and gentlemen, when I come back home with the spoil. I come back home of Goliath's head in the bag every day, with his head in the bag every day. That means I've done something in my business every single day. Listen, everybody on this call is a leader. Everybody on this call is a leader. Why? Because if you wasn't a leader, you wouldn't be on the call. And most people on this call is on this call all the time. The only difference is we got to shake ourselves. So what I tell each and everybody is, tomorrow when you wake up in the morning, look in the mirror. Get your sticky pad like I did, and put SVP on the sticky pad and put it on your mirror. And when you walk into the mirror every morning, point at yourself in the mirror and say, I'm proud of you. You're going SVP. Point to yourself. Remind yourself every single day. And if you remind yourself every single day, you're going to get up and you're going to do something in your business. You're going to do something. Because Mr. Thomas, all the founders, they laid the foundation for us, ladies and gentlemen. There is no better company than ACN. There is no better company. The comp plan is second to none. Nobody's doing a comp plan like we doing. And then we giving it to them. We giving it to them. We showing them, if you do this, this is your payout. We doing it individually and we doing it as a group. So you can't say, well, I don't know how to talk to a lot of people. Well, you can do it by yourself and still get paid. The comp plan is individualized and it's group manifest at the same time. I look at it every day. I say, this is incredible. I can't sleep anymore. My food don't taste right. I've lost about 25 pounds. I don't sleep no more. I take naps. I'm on the floor. I can't sleep in a bed. I can't get comfortable because every time I think I'm getting comfortable, man, it's just a voice inside of me say SVP, SVP, SVP. And I wake up every day like I'm in a nightmare. You have to get uncomfortable to do this business. And the more you get uncomfortable, the more your business gets comfortable. Let me repeat that. The more you get uncomfortable, the more your business gets comfortable. Now, if your SVP just moved and downsized from where he was from, SVP downsize. What's our excuse? I might as well be sitting outside. I might as well be sleeping outside. Because if he move one more time, man, I'm pitching a tent. If he move out of one more place, man, I'm pitching a tent. I'm serious about it, man. I'm pitching a tent. That's how serious this thing is gotten, fellas. Ladies, gentlemen, this how serious it's gotten. We got the blueprint. We just got to manifest what we got on paper. And the way that you do that is be consistent every single day. Be consistent. If you do 2 people a day, start doing 4. If you do 4 people a day, start doing 8. You have to be consistent with what you're doing. And once you become consistent in what you're doing, your daily method of operation, it trickles down to your downline. It trickles down to your downline, ladies and gentlemen. Now, with that said, I want to kind of open up for Q&A because I know some people may have a question, specific questions for me. If you got the questions, fine. If you don't, I'm still fine with that. With that, Mr. Thomas, I want to say I appreciate you for having me on the call. Try not to take up a whole lot of time. You may have something that you may want to say, but I appreciate you, Mrs. Thomas. And let's do it together, everybody. Let's do it together.
My God, you were amazing, Mr. Sam Foster. I wish I could raise up the rest of y'all to be like Mr. Sam Foster. You know, just this past Wednesday on the private call that I did for those people that were doing things, I asked him to do a private call. He had a guy in a hotel. Listen to this. In a hotel with his future wife and his son named Colton. Never forget the name. And I remember the guy, as I said, man, I know you're in a hotel. I don't want to take you. No, tell me. Before I got, within 2 minutes, I had this guy watching the video, want to know more about what we did because he was impressed with Sam Foster. And he, you know, most people in the hotel, because of what happened in Dallas, don't want to have time to talk to you. They didn't, you know, they're in an uproar. But he said, man, tell me, I want something. I'm looking for something. And I need this. And you don't understand. Every time we do these private calls, you have 15 to 17 people per call. And those are on the call, you know what I mean? Get to mine first, but Miss Sam Foster's list too long. Hey, get to mine. I got that. They're on the East Coast. Get to mine because look, I am so thankful and so grateful that he got on it. And my spirit said, let Sam Foster highlight him tonight. Maybe some of y'all to get on the floor like he does and sleep on the floor because he's uncomfortable. Maybe because I moved and downside myself, I'm uncomfortable. But see, the problem is some of y'all, you're still uncomfortable. You're still too comfortable to do anything effectively. You know, we've heard it from Mr. Nelson said it a couple of weeks ago. When he talked about being uncomfortable, I said, oh my God, we're on the same. When he talked about being on the same wavelength, when we had Mr. Dean Torelli, and then we also had another, Shaquille Cooper. I mean, it's so amazing to me. I mean, he's living on an air mattress in a closet. But after all, you want to be senior vice president, but you don't want to get uncomfortable. Open, the phone lines are open for Mr. Sam Foster. Anybody got any questions for Mr. Sam Foster? Directed to Mr. Sam Foster. And don't forget, tomorrow night, Mr. Nelson will be with us tomorrow night at doing my leadership tomorrow night. But any question for Mr. Sam Foster?
Hey, Sam, it's Maya and Sway here.
Hey.
I just want to say how proud I am of you. We've gotten to see you grow on these calls as well. And your daily method is incredible. And I just thank you for sharing. I have had to take Uber rides lately because our car is at the dealership getting worked on. And I've been peaking my Uber drivers every day. And it's been going really, really great. I have business cards to give them. I'm working on not saying too much and listening. So today I did that, Mr. Thomas. I guess my question for you, once you listen and you're getting that rapport with them, how do you what do you say when you say you have your own business? Do you say you have your own business, or what's that conversation to pique them into you? I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, less is more. Once you have to first find out what they do. Let's say, for instance, they're the Uber driver. As soon as I get in the car, because I've done Uber too, as soon as I get in the car, that's the first thing I'm asking. Watch this. I ask them, what do you do besides this? Because most Uber drivers do more than one thing. So once they tell me, and I already know where I'm going, so I got a certain amount of time, I just let them talk, because I'm waiting on them to give me that break point where I can slide back in there. So once they tell me what they do besides Uber, then at that point, I'm getting that number because now they've let their guard down. They've undressed themselves already. Once they tell me what they do besides Uber, and usually they're going to be long-winded because nobody asked them that. Most people that get inside that Uber, they're not peeking. So you're peeking, but you're doing it from a sign of comfort. So they already know. They want to tell you what they do. And then they're going to start telling you the truth. Oh, I hate my job. Why? Because if they love their job, they wouldn't be Ubering. If the job paid them more, they wouldn't be Ubering. Hint, hint, hint. See, you gotta catch the break points. So when they tell you that break point, you say, look, I do a little something. Less is more. I do a little something. Let me get your number, and then I'll give you a call a little later on. We'll talk, because I know you got a tough schedule. As soon as they give you that number, dial the number in front of them, because 9 times out of 10, their phone is going to ring in that phone, and now you know you got that number. You get that name, what's your first, what's your last name, that's it. Once you get out that car, you got their name and their number. Say, I'll be giving you a call.
Do you see, that's what I did, and I've been really good because I'm getting to list. I'm getting out of the way, you know, just listening instead of being more interested than interesting. But I basically asked somebody for their number to send them the video to talk further to them, but then they wanted to ask me more questions on the drive because we still had like 5 more minutes. So are you waiting till you jump out to do that, to get their number?
No. I'll get their number as soon as they give me that break point where they're telling me what they do. Mm-hmm. Then I'll say, hey, well, check this out. Let me go ahead and get your name and number because I know you're busy and I don't want to forget before I leave the car. So that way, once you get that name and number, let them keep talking. You got the name and number. Let them keep talking because now that's their comfort level to you. It's not bothering you because you're getting ready to get out the car anyway. Once you get that name and that number on that Uber, you got what you need. Now you can let them talk because you got what you need. Then you get more ammo as they talk. Because remember now, it's a paid ride. You finna get out the car. As long as you got that name and number, depending on the environment, let them keep talking because now you're more friendly to them. And they're going to be able to come back to you again because look, he listened to me. She listened to me. It's endearment.
You know, I'm going to jump in here. I'm going to jump in just for a second, and then I'll let you go, Myra. But another thing that was a good point that he brought up, once he called them on the spot and your phone rang, you will know that that's him, and you'll lock it in. How many times we get a name and number, and we call them a couple of days later or a day later, they look at the number, they don't know who that is. But I like the idea he does it on the spot because this is Sam Foster. Let me put you in my phone because I got you because you called me. See, that's a great point because now when that number comes up again, you know who that is. Go ahead, ask the question.
Mr. Thomas, I'm going to, and I know this question wasn't for me, but I feel that I need to add to it just to help her question out. She's asking more along the line of if you're on a ride and you have 5 minutes left, do you peek immediately and get the answer, or do you wait till you know it's time to get out and get the answer in order to not have them continuing to ask questions about the business? So exactly. I'm gonna answer first, and then I'm gonna let anyone else respond. My answer will be as simple as this. When you know you're on an Uber ride, you know how much longer you have till you get to your destination. So what I do personally, I just basically have a general conversation until I know I got 2 or 3 minutes left. And then it's when I hit to get the contact information. That way, you know, you're getting out of the car immediately and you don't have to worry about trying to answer further questions. Right. But if anyone else wants to answer that, feel free. And sorry, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I just wanted to make sure her question was answered thoroughly.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm gonna add on to that. Because see, now you got the name and number. Let's see at 5 more minutes. One of the things I do, and I tell you what, this has been 1,000% batting average with this one. I've never missed with this one. And I said, look, all I want to tell you is this. I've been looking in your eyes, and I can tell you, you've been praying that how long prayer. Today, God answered it. And right now, I got to think about where I'm going. So I need some quiet time. And man, I'm telling you, that has allowed me to hit the ball out the park every time. I have never had nobody say, No, I have not been praying a long prayer, but yeah, your prayer's been answered. Now I need a few minutes to get ready for my next appointment, but we're gonna talk. And that cuts it right there.
Love it.
And I tell you, I've never had anybody give me opposition to that. I never had nobody say, oh, I've not been praying for betterness. No, I never in 27 years had nobody say that. If anything, they're like, oh my God, how did you know? Oh my God. Because most people are praying that what I call the how long prayer must I go through this?
Right.
And Maya, believe it or not, that's going to extend your conversation once you talk to that person later on, because you did have enough courtesy to pull out gracefully, and then they know that you're still in tune with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I've had great conversation, and that's something I'm thankful for. I came home so excited because I'm actually having genuine conversation now versus conversation with my own agenda at the end, you know, and that's been the difference. And the responses have been really great. But then whenever they ask, well, what's the business? Then I'm like, not too much. I've gotten better about it, but I still get in the way. So that helps so much, you guys. Thank you.
You know what you got to do? You got to role play with your honey right there. Just role play. That's all. It's going to build your confidence level.
Yeah, agreed. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. Next question for Sam Foster. What?
Actually, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, Mr. Thomas, for your calls. I love what you guys are doing with your team. It's just amazing. And for an outsider like me to be able to come on and learn from your guys' wisdom and know that we're grooving the same way. I'm up here in Canada where it's frozen as frozen can be. Thank God we have Zoom Energy on our portfolio of things to offer. But Sam, it's very interesting, and I appreciate you pouring out your wisdom and your time and effort, because I do a lot of the same thing. Cold market, like, not to get on it, guys, but I've done hundreds and hundreds of points personally. Cold market, all of it's cold market, right? Because it's an easy conversation. If you mess up, you can just walk away. First of all, it doesn't matter. You're never going to see the person again. But just to be able to see that you guys share this wisdom openly the way you do amongst whoever, it's just kudos to you. You know, I'm in such awe that I got to be honest. I forgot what I was going to say, but I know it was about the cold market with Sam, because that's a unique skill. Not too many people have that, right? Like, people used to ask me, how did you do it? And I remember being so scared when I was in the lineup at the Tim Hortons or Dunkin' Donuts, whatever you guys got down there. You know, I used to be scared, like I'd be trembling, and I just started doing the 1, 2, 3 thing, and I'd push myself to just be awkward, right? Just to get in front of that person and be awkward. And if you can just do something rather than nothing, I find it's just amazing what can come of it. But I'm going to get out of the way because I did genuinely forget my question. I know it's going to come back as soon as I say, hey, you know, I want to learn more. But thank you guys so much for what you're doing. It's just amazing to be part of everything that you guys are doing.
Let me say this, Jerry, because you hit on something that may allow this conversation to illuminate and make you think about your question. First of all, you got to start going back to your why. And for everybody that's listening on this call, your why has to be bigger than anybody's no. Let me repeat that. Let's let your why be bigger than anybody's no. Because at some point, remember, most people are not saying no because they're trying to be funny. They're just saying not right now. And then, like Mr. Thomas always says, if you turn that no around, that means on. Game on. You have to remind yourself of why you're doing this business. If you remind yourself, if you get you a big enough why, the no don't matter. Like I said, I'll talk to the devil if his pants is on fire. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. I want it just that bad. I should have titled this thing Water Baby, man, because every day I wake up, feel like I'm trapped inside water and I need oxygen, man. That's how bad I want this, man. So anybody's no doesn't even bother me. I give myself a 3-second count. When somebody looks like they're saying no to me or they say I'm not interested, I count to 3. By the time I get to 3, it's gone out of my head. It's automatically gone because my why is bigger than somebody's no. You got to keep your why in the back of your mind.
I remember my question now too. So my question is, after you, if you've got the unstoppable why, what is your method of follow-up? Like, what's your window look like? Because I remember coming at people 2 hours after I got that number and being on fire and excited, but it came off like overwhelming, overbearing. And then there was other times where it'd come off as desperate, destitute, because I'm calling them right away. So I'd leave it days on, and then they wouldn't remember who I was. And I like the phone call thing. I do that with texting, same idea. But what does your window look like from the minute you get that number? How long until you make contact with them again? What do you have?
That's a very good question. My answer is simple. It's just like getting qualified. 24 to 48 hours. No longer than 48 hours. I'm hitting you right back. 24 to 48 hours. So if it's the weekend, remember what I said earlier. I told the people that I talked to today, I'm gonna call you this weekend. That's a 48-hour window. Anytime out of that, I've already called you. You see what I'm saying? Because I do so much mass talking to people. I have to, like Mr. Julian Lewis taught me this. Thank you, sir. 24 to 48 hours, because I have so many people. If I don't do it, I'll have 50 people, man, in 3 days. And that's a lot of people to be talking about calling back. So that 24 to 48 hour window, 48 max. And that doesn't make you look desperate, because if you say you're going to call them, well, you're backing yourself up. And that's a good thing. 24 to 48 hours max.
Thank you.
Mr. Foster, this is Dave Colbert. Thank you for what you said tonight. Amazing. Now, after you get the number and you make contact with them, do you do the call? Do you call them first and send a video, or do you send a video after you make contact, you get the report, you send the video, and you do the follow-up after that?
Well, very, very good question. Let me break that down. It depends on how I've rated them. Remember I said earlier, if they my hot shot, if they my 5 hot shot for the day, I'm probably going to do the video first, because I've already recognized them as a hot shot. Now, if they my hot shot, they not so slow. You see what I'm saying? They my heavy hitters. Them the guys that I've seen at the polo shop and stuff like that, the business owners. Well, they already know. You know what I'm saying? They trying to save on their bottom line. They trying to add to their portfolio. So I can already do the video. Why? Because the video is going to break down in detail who we are, what we do, how much it costs. So I don't have to do the song and dance routine. I don't do the Bojangles with them. I don't have to do the Bojangles with them. You know what I'm saying? We're not cooning the buck dancing with them. We can go straight to them. You see what I'm saying? So that it depends on what level you remember what I said. When I get back to my car, I'm already analyzing. I'm putting in my notations. How do I go at this person? How do I go at that person? So you pick them depending on how you feel.
Thank you, sir. Much appreciated. I like what you said. Don't Bojangles. I like that.
No
I love
Bojangles.
Wow. We have time for maybe one more question for Mr. Sam Foster. This has been amazing. And you see why, after all these Wednesdays, that I wanted to highlight him tonight. And one of the things that we're looking at in the future for all of you on the call, we want to interview more of you and highlight more of you on Al's Happy Hour. That's what we would like to do. But in order for us to highlight you on Al's Happy Hour, you got to do something with the business to make us want to highlight you in front of everybody and let everybody know what you're doing to succeed in the opportunity of ACN. One other person, Sensation, who's that? Okay, go ahead. Matrix, go ahead.
Sam, I was just gonna ask, I'm very inspired by your share and your presentation today. What is your why?
Well, it's funny you say that, man. We'll be here all night. But let me give you a scenario. My why started a long time ago, and I put it on the back burner, like most of us do. We put it on the back burner because we started working for people, and then we started trading time for dollars. Well, my biggest why is my grandson. You know, I want to give him a trust fund, so that way he doesn't have to guess about his future. You know, he can already know at some point he has something to look forward to. You know what I'm saying? Because I think a lot of times, if we can do that more with our kids and with our grandkids, that kind of gives them a leg up in life, you know? And then, to be totally honest with you, if I could do that fully, then I want my grandson to walk past my picture one day, even when I'm dead, and kiss it. I want him to kiss it. If you ever seen very wealthy people, they always have that grandpa above the fireplace. I want to be that old joker, you know, standing all still in front of the fireplace, and people walk by and say, "Who is that?" "Oh, he the reason we got all this. You know, he's the founding father of all this." You know, and they walk by, they kiss it, they tap it, and put their hands on it and all that. I want what they call generational wealth. And in order for me to do that, my why is to break these generational curses. Because see, even though I went to school and they told me get a good job and I did college and everything, I didn't know anything and I didn't know anybody. Why? Because school never taught us how to make money. It taught us how to go to work for somebody. School never teaches you about money. That's why people like Al Thomas and all these other people that never really went to college are very successful, because it's OJT. They get it out the mud. They're forced to do something because they didn't go the traditional route. Rich dad, poor dad. Come on now. They didn't go the traditional route. So they had to get it out the mud. It'll force somebody like an Al Thomas to start doing real estate at 18 years old with a credit card. No formal training, with a credit card. Just an ambition. So my why is to continue to create generational curses, because my past has always been a generational curse. I want my future to be a generational blessing.
Wow. Woo! And with that, ladies and gentlemen, bam! My God, Sam Foster, I knew you had a lot in you, and I hope some of y'all, look, folks, don't just listen and let it go in this ear, out the other ear. Hey, that was great, Sam Foster. That was great. What are you going to do about your generational wealth for your family? I know tonight was a good call. It moved me, but I hope it moved you to action. And I would highly suggest you put SVP on your mirror tonight. Put it on your refrigerator before you open your mouth. Before you open your mouth, open the refrigerator. Put SVP in your mind. Put it on the refrigerator. Put a sticky on your desk. Put a sticky on your like my dad did on the mirror in the bathroom. Put stickers, at least 5 stickers around your house. Before you're at the door, put one on the door. And then you'll start letting it permeate in your spirit, your soul, your inner sanctum. And that's how you get there. See, I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed. When I was Sam Foster, I was obsessed. It was in me. I was obsessed. And when you get obsessed, it'll happen for you. Mr. Sam Foster, my God, this is the best happy hour call I've had. I mean, this was amazing. Sir, thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, like you said, do something to move your business forward.